Many of us like to enjoy the outdoors during the winter months. A lot of us like to watch birds and other animals maybe in our yard. But on the other hand, we might be kind of shocked when you go out to buy some of these bird seed blends that some can be quite expensive. Beyond that, you have to be very careful. Some of the blends that you see have a lot of things in them that birds don't like. The birds actually scratch some of the big millet, large millet, the milo. These are things that are in the blends to really keep the cost down, but it's of little or almost no value to the birds. A couple things you want to keep in mind. Black oil sunflower is one of their favorites, so I really like to use maybe 80% black oil sunflower, maybe even a little more. Whatever you give your birds, just like for us, it needs to be relatively fresh. If any of the ingredients you're using smell weird or sour or moldy, I recommend, don't feed the birds just like we wouldn't eat it ourselves. This is just some quinoa seed, and I do recommend, instead of using some of these little bags you buy them in with twist stems, you're going to want to, when you're done, put them in Ziploc bags or some type of sealed bag to keep them fresher. So in this case, I'm just going to use, this is like cooking, I don't measure exactly. I'm going to use about 2 or 3 tablespoons, because when you add these special mixes, you're going to get birds like pine siskins, goldfinch, titmice, doves, and depending on where you live, you may get grosbeaks and other birds if you're in some of the colder areas. I sometimes will go ahead and use things like even celery seed. Birds love celery seed. And so this was only like, probably 85 cents, but it'll give me, 2 tablespoons of this. This will last me the whole winter. And dill seed at the same time, I will just use dill seed. I'll use about the same amount, 2 or 3 tablespoons. Just mix it, and if you've got kids or family, they can also help. This is fennel seed that was collected from the garden, so you can use a little bit of the fennel seed that they will eat. Then you can get hulled millet. Now this is millet that does not have the hulls. The hulls on it require a little more work for the birds, but this is hulled millet, and you use maybe a little more of this, maybe about 1/4 cup. And for those of you who really have difficulty measuring, you can have the 1/4 cup right here and put that in there like that. Pumpkin seed. Birds love pumpkin seed. And maybe again about 1/2 cup, so you can just come in like this and use pumpkin seed, because a lot of the birds enjoy pumpkin seed at the same time. Then, if you have any leftover nuts, pecans and things, then it is important that the nuts are somewhat fresh. And in this case, I'm going to take 1/2 cup. And what I'll do is put it in my hand, and I will crush it. And just crush it in my hand. So you don't have one large bird like a blue jay walk off with it, because again, the titmice really enjoy. Then at the very end, I will just take some uncooked, unsalted peanuts, and sometimes I will crush these too a little bit, but I'll mix this all together and then go in here and completely mix this. And when I'm done, I'll have seed or a blend that is more expensive, at least in its appearance, than anything out there. But for you, it's inexpensive, and the birds are going to love you. It is important not to overfeed the birds. So try to be sure that the birds have cleaned everything before you feed them again. You don't really want to starve them, but you don't want them to cost you needless money. Within 50 feet of where I'm standing, we have close to 12 feeders. Don't be afraid to put all your feeders in a small area. And what you can also do is have a special blend for maybe 2 or 3. This one here just has sunflower. So I just might come in and add a few of those pecans to this feeder. Or I might just decide to come in and pour some of my special blend just out on the feeder, like this. But We have different feeders. We even have suet feeders, so make sure that you give your birds suet. You can make your own suet with your own blend at the same time, or you can purchase it. And I like to use some of the suets that tend to be just a little firmer, but really they will attract woodpeckers, nuthatches, and chickadees. In fact, if your birds really like the blend you make, you can actually get chickadees to come almost and land on your hand to eat the special blend you've just made. I'm Mark Viette. Join me next time in the garden.
For more garden tips, go to inthegardenradio.com.